Hey everybody, John here. It's another beautiful day in Pennsylvania. Look at that beautiful gray sky. We're back in the Buchanan State Forest, and maybe this would be a great vista off of Blankley Road if you could see anything. Well, we have a number of trails planned. We're not going to park in this spot. I just pulled off of the road. Here's the silver streak. I'm going this way on the road, but I just whipped the car around to take a look at what was marked on the map as a vista. And I think there's one more down that road there before we get to where we're going to park. While we're here, we'll just go ahead and grab this piece of trash that I found over here. And notice it's a food saver bag. But look, it's looks like it was bitten into. So it doesn't look like it was ever opened by a human to get at its contents. But I would say there was something in there that an animal got. We'll go ahead and pack that out of here. Something else that looks like it was bitten into pretty good. Look at this. That was lying on its side. I kind of put it upright. Life consumes life. So we're heading that way down Blankley Road. We'll see if there's another way to pull over to see the other vista. Well, here is the other vista, and it's pretty similar. Not much to see. This is interesting, though, this parallel road right here. I mean, it's right beside Blankley Road, which we're on. Okay, we're going to go a little farther down that way and park, and then get suited up for hiking. So we're on Blankley Road right here, and we want to park in that spot. We are at this vista, and the other one was there. Oh, okay, that's marked as an ATV trail right there. Okay, kind of cool. So yeah, we're going to park here. Then we're going to walk down Blankley Road all the way over to here until we get to the Pigeonroost Trail. Go down into the Martin Hill wild area, and then take the Bear Gap Trail back north. Then cut over, probably on that trail, to come over here, and the orange is the Mid-State Trail. So we'll come over to that. We'll probably go over, try to check out this vista, and then we'll think about camping. Now here's the Sweet Root Natural Area. You can't camp within a natural area, but where you see the green here, in those areas we can camp. Gray clothing for a gray day. Makes sense to me. And then my gray backpack. So what do you think? Am I going to be ready for the rain that we get? Here's my bedroll, my sleeping pad. What do you think about having that strapped to the outside of my pack? I'm afraid that tonight it may be soaked. But I have a plan B. If it is wet and it won't dry out, which I don't imagine that thing dries out too easily, then I'm just going to put my blanket on top of it and lay on top of my blanket. And with the clothing I have, I think it should be warm enough, because it's only supposed to get down to about 62 tonight. Here I have the maps and whatnot in a baggie to keep them from getting soaked. We'll stick that into the brain of the backpack here, and we're just about ready to go. It's about 8:45. Let's see how long it takes us to walk down Blankley Road here. I think we got to go about 3 miles to get to Pigeonroost Road, is how it's designated on the map, but it's also marked as a hiking trail. So I've got the rain gear because I think we can expect, I mean, it's misty right now. It's kind of sprinkling, I guess. So all that mist will accumulate on us, and at any given time we could have actual rain. That applies to all day and all through tonight and into tomorrow. Yeah, I think Blankley Road is going to go to the right here. Martin Hill Road straight ahead. I thought this road walk would be a nice warm-up. It's 10:01, so we've been going about an hour and 15 minutes. Notice I took my rain jacket off. Look how sweaty I am. I mean, I took my rain jacket off quite a while ago, and I'm still sweating like crazy. It may be around 70 degrees. I doubt it's much above that. But, yeah, that rain jacket is hot. Anyway, looking at the map here, we should be close to the head of the Pigeonroost Trail, which is what we're looking for. Pigeonroost Trail down to here, to the Bear Gap Trail, is probably maybe 3 miles or so, and I figure that will take us maybe 2 hours. There it is, Pigeonroost Trail. So that took about an hour and a half. So maybe it is 3 miles if I walked 2 miles an hour. Now, where does the trail go exactly? Looks like it goes kind of through the ferns right there, and then takes a left up this way. Wonder if it is marked by blazes, because if not, then we might have a couple hours here to hike where we just have to find our way. Now, this trail should go alongside Pigeonroost Run, and I think, we're very gently climbing right now, and I think we go to about 2,600 feet, and then at the other end of the trail is about 2,200 feet, I think. Along the way, we come to the headwaters, as it were, of Pigeonroost Run, which is probably just a spring or something. But that creek should be flowing, in the same direction as we're going. So, we'll be looking for that. Well, this is definitely very ferny. This thing might not get hiked very much. Well, for the first 20 minutes or so of this trail, it's little more than a faint trace through the ferns, which are sometimes waist high. I guess since this is a wild area, there's no maintenance on this trail. But now we're on a very steeply upward, wide, rocky path. So I wonder, are we going over Martin's Hill? And then are we going to descend on the other side down into the Pigeonroost Run Valley? That's what I'm expecting. So, looking forward to cresting this thing. I am sweating like a very sweaty thing. All right, I think we've just about made it to the top of this beast. So back there, you can kind of see how the trail just drops very precipitously, right? That's where we came from. And when you get up here, you've got this glacial litter, and it almost looks like you could go back in there and possibly camp. It'd be a dry campsite. You have to make sure you bring your water here. But, and then we're about to the crest, and we've got ferns again. Then you can see daylight breaking through over there, so I think we've just about summited Martin Hill. I'm guessing that's what this is. Oh my, look at this. A fern corridor once again. I think maybe around the next bend here, we should start to descend. Oh, this is Evetts Mountain Road. So I think that means we don't want to go either left or right. I think we want to continue down this way somehow. Let's see. Okay, Pigeonroost Road that way. Is there another post here somewhere that tells us how to continue? If we were to just keep going straight, we'd go that way. Well, this way does not look so promising. So let's go back the other way. And we might just have to pull the map out and see what's going on. Maybe, because of the angle of the thing, maybe we're supposed to merge with Evetts Mountain Road going this way, and then split off to our left somewhere. Gee, blazes would be nice. I don't know if I'm up for the sort of bushwhacking that we did last time. Down through that mess? I don't know. Not really up for it today. Okay, I've determined 3 things. Number 1, it is time for the rain gear pants to come off. Now, I didn't bring an umbrella on this trip, so the rain gear is all I've got. But I also have 2 tarps, and we'll just see how it goes. We'll see what we can do. I'll figure something out. It's not going to be terribly cold. Cold and wet, that's a very bad combination, but it's not going to get cold, so we're good there. Second thing I've determined is that the map does indicate that the trail should cross this road down there, where, we came from that direction, and it should have more or less just gone straight on, or if anything, pick up a little ways down there. And we tried going down there until we saw the big puddle in the road and didn't see any post or anything. So we'll go back and try again to find the trail over there. And if we don't find it, we can continue on down the road, and in about a mile, I think, we'll come to Bear Gap Trail, and we'll just take that one instead. And the third thing I've determined is that it's coffee time. So if you're not familiar with these canisters, in my pocket here I have a penny. So what you do is just turn these things a quarter turn with any coin, each of these, and that turns levers that are underneath the rim of this thing, and turns them so they're not underneath there. And then there's a button right here you push, and that plate pops out, and there you go. Now today I thought I'd try. This came from a hotel. Maybe you've seen these before. So this was an extra one that at home it was open, so I don't know if there were 2. I mean, it says 1 cup regular coffee on the package, so I guess there's just one of those, coffee bags inside, much like a tea bag. So we made cowboy coffee last time, and it should be pretty much the same concept, except now the grounds will be trapped inside this bag. And while we're waiting for that, I use the rest of the water in my drinking bottle. So in there, we will mix up an apple-flavored electrolyte powder. Pretty tasty. We'll have a Drake's coffee cake to go with our cup of joe. Okay, so the hairband slipped up to the top. It's supposed to be like this to keep that flask from slipping out of this pocket, which it sometimes does. So the hairband is attached to a carabiner, which is attached to that loop right there. As much as I was sweating coming up Pigeonroost Trail, I may need to replace some electrolytes. That is boiling way too much. We don't want that. So we're going to go ahead and turn the heat off of it. But we'll put the lid back on and let it steep in there. I have heard that some people have had trouble with the Katadyn Be Free with the speed at which the water filters through. If you're having trouble, if it's filtering very slowly, even though it's brand new, it may be because if you take it out with you dry with no water in it and then fill it up in the field and then try to immediately filter water through it, that could be the problem, because there's something about the fibers that this is made out of. They need to kind of be primed and soaked a little bit, right? If they're completely dry, then they won't, it won't filter quickly right away. So it needs to be, kind of soaked a little, get moist before it works well. And that could be the reason I've never had any problem with this, because whenever I leave on a trip, right, as soon as I go, this thing is filled up with water from home. So it's been, the filter inside has been immersed in the water. So just, try that on for size. Well, let's see how our coffee's doing. It doesn't look dark enough. It's not going to be very strong, I'm afraid. I think we'd have been better off with cowboy coffee. See, it almost looks red, and you can see right to the bottom. You shouldn't be able to see to the bottom. A little weak, of course, but not bad. All right, here's what I've decided after looking at the map again. We're going to go right, left, and so here we are back at the Pigeonroost Trail. And as mentioned, the thing is supposed to go pretty much straight across this road and continue on that way. But even if we can find it, I think I'm going to skip it, change of plans. We're going to go down to Bear Gap Trail and turn right on it and just follow it a little ways. And we should see Refuge Trail, and we'll skip that one and then go on up to the next one, the name of which does not appear on the map. So I don't know what that one's called. And that should bring us back to this road. And then we'll take a right. And then before long, the road should bring us to the Mid-State Trail. And we'll take a left on it on our way over to see a vista, though we will probably just see a big old gray blank space. Then, on the Mid-State Trail, I'm curious to find out if there's going to be any sign that says such and such shelter in one direction or the other, north or south. And if we see such a thing, then we might head toward that shelter and check it out. And I would love for there to be a shelter that we could camp at tonight. The Mid-State Trail runs north-south through the middle, roughly, of Pennsylvania, through the Allegheny Mountains, from the Maryland line in the south to the New York line in the north. And I think it's about 327 miles. Don't quote me on that, but that number sticks in my head for some reason. And since people through hike that thing, it'll have blazes and the whole bit. I think it's blazed orange. So might even have signs, some decent camping areas. So I think we're just going to take the Mid-State Trail north or south, whichever direction seems promising, and see if we can find ourselves a campsite. Look at this big field of glacial litter. All these rocks that just ended up here, finally coming to rest after being pushed for who knows how far by a glacier. Some glacier gathered up a whole bunch of these, just swept them up as it went along. Look at this. Wow. That's something. They must have had to move a whole bunch of these in order to make this road through here. Aha! We found Bear Gap Trail. All right, it's 12:18. Let's take note of the time because however long it takes us to get to the refuge trail, it should take us about that much time again to get to the trail that we want to use to cut to the left and go back to this road that we just left. Let's just appreciate the mountain laurel. Yes, indeed. Now, we've been at about 2,600 feet ever since we got to the top of Pigeonroost Trail, and we haven't descended any. And it occurred to me that when we get over to the Mid-State Trail, I think the portion that comes through here in the Buchanan State Forest runs along the top of Tussey Mountain, runs along the ridge, which is at about 2,200 feet, which means that water sources are potentially going to be a problem. So I'm hoping that we'll encounter one down here someplace before we get over to the Mid-State Trail. If not, one option could be to hike down the Sweet Root Run. Wait, is it Sweet? Yeah, Sweet Root Trail, going into the Sweet Root Natural Area until we come to Sweet Root Run, right? So we get far enough down that Sweet Root Run is flowing. So we could hike down there just far enough to get water and then double back and just come right back up that trail and back to the Mid-State Trail. But we'll figure something out. In the meantime, we'll just try not to sweat too much and try not to drink too much, I guess. This is kind of weird. To the left, Bear Gap Drive. Not exactly a suburban street, but yeah, Bear Gap Drive. If you were coming up this way, then you see Bear Gap Trail goes left and right, which means we do want to continue straight and not to go down there. Still haven't come to the refuge trail. Well, we don't feel so closed in anymore. This is looking more like woods with some nice trees spaced apart. Now we're getting into an area where one could camp in a pinch, but we still haven't come to any water. And it still feels like we've been walking way too long to have not encountered the refuge trail. Well, it has taken 1 hour and 3 minutes to get to this point. So I got to thinking, what if, as we headed down Bear Gap Trail here, what if that right there, that unlabeled trail, is Bear Gap Drive that we saw? Maybe that's what that was. And we just missed the refuge trail or never did see it. So I think we're about to come to the end of the Bear Gap Trail. And Bear Gap Run is down here. I'm thinking maybe when we get down here to this road, we will head down this way. Looks like there's a parking area there. And then take a left on whatever road this is. And then over here is Wildcat Run. So these are water options. But this will take us over to Beans Cove Road. And then what does that say? The Fetters Trail? Take that over. And the orange here, that's the Mid-State Trail. So that's our new plan. And in the meantime, maybe I don't know if I should rest here and have a snack or just continue on down to the end of this trail where it looks like we'll come to a road, and that might be a more suitable place to take a break. So yeah, let's keep going. Well, what do you know? Pigeonroost Road or Pigeonroost Trail. It goes both ways here. Okay, so if you remember, the original plan was to take Pigeonroost Trail all the way to the end, so we would have come from there if we could have found the thing, if it didn't just disappear on us. So instead, we went down Evetts Mountain Road to the Bear Gap Trail and brought it down sort of parallel. So now we've reached the end. So we would have taken a left and gone up that way. But now, I'll tell you what, I'm definitely not going back up the Pigeonroost Trail because I don't know what kind of mess it gets into before it gets up to Evetts Mountain Road. Looks like our only option, the Bear Gap Trail apparently has come to an end. So our only option now is to follow Pigeonroost. And does that look like it could be a parking area over there, or maybe a structure or two? So yeah, I think we're coming to the end, and there's something over here. There's buildings. Look at that nice big table. Now, why is there all this wood here? Oh, well, there's a fire ring right there. Huh. Several picnic tables over there. Don't know what that is there. A chair. Something in progress. Not a very good chair. Okay. We're definitely going to make use of this table right here. I would like to cook a meal. So I'm hungry enough to have a proper meal, but I don't want to use the water because I don't know how far it'll be till we get to water. According to the map, it shouldn't be too far. Just go down this road and come to Beans Cove Road, take a left, and somewhere around there, maybe around the intersection, there should be water. Not very far down. Bear Gap Run. But I don't want to count on it, you know. So we shall wait. In the meantime, it's Hunter's Mix. Okay, let's move on out of here. So this walking stick has been all right. Kind of like it, but you know, it's the surface of it is sort of varnished or whatever, you know. It's smooth. So when my palms are sweaty, it doesn't really feel that good in my hand. Whereas just a staff that I borrow from the forest, just a branch, the wood is rough, you know, and it will absorb my sweat. But of course, it's rougher on the hand, so greater chance of blisters, which I haven't gotten on my hands from that. Or, you know, possibly Splinter. Splinter is a possibility. Okay, that road took me past some private residences and off of, you know, outside the state park boundary. And then as I walked along the road, I could hear water over here. I definitely hear it over there. I can't quite figure out how to get to it, but this is state forest land here. So if I can get over this beast, maybe I can get over there. Or maybe that's not worth the effort. I feel like what we see right over there is the far bank of a stream that is flowing just below that and flowing like so. So I thought maybe we could get over to it easily, but I guess not. So we'll go back to the road, which is over here, and continue along it, looking for Beans Cove Road. And now that looks like a bridge ahead over the stream that we were looking for. All right, coming up to a paved road. Well, it's paved to the right, and it looks like it's gravel to the left. I assume we want to take a left. I think we're still outside of state forest property, but we'll be re-entering it soon. Well, I thought that I was on Beans Cove Road, but this doesn't look good. This is too major a road. I'm afraid this might be State Road 326, in which case we are way off from where we want to be. So I'm going to need to take another look at the map. I think I'll go over to this gravel area to do that. But here's another stream. I do remember we were supposed to encounter another stream. So this could be Beans Cove Road. All right, turns out Beans Cove Road is a nice paved road that, you know, people can actually go places on. But over here to the right, finally, I see some white markings on trees, and I wonder if that indicates that's the Martin Hill Wild area over there, and that we're coming back to its border. On the left, I think, is possibly still private property. I'm not sure. I don't see posted signs, but I think maybe the markings over here indicate that we're finally getting back to the forest. So we're looking for the Fetters Trail. Take a right on that. That will take us over to the Mid-State Trail. If we miss it, then this goes up and crosses the Mid-State Trail anyway. So either way, we'll get there. There it is. Fetters Trail. Looks like a driveway. Finally back in the forest. I see an awful lot of ferns back there. What are we in for here? Looks like we have to keep climbing. And probably Mid-State Trail is at the top. They're going to give us blazes on this trail? Yeah. Red blazes. How do you like that? Okay. Well, before I go up there, think maybe it's time to cook a meal. It's almost 3 o'clock, and I really haven't eaten a meal yet, so I think we better do that. Well, I'm having trouble. I cannot seem to get the stove to light. Any ideas on what I'm doing wrong? These holes right here, when I turn this, the gas should come up through this tube, and I should be able to light it just through the holes, right? So let's try it. Oh, and it fired right up. Well, thanks. Appreciate that. I tried it 7 or 8 times and could not get it to light. This time it fired right up. Okay, good. Well, here's what we're doing. We're going to boil a little water, and we're gonna have some souped up ramen noodles. So my brother made up this stuff here. Oh, this is a piece of Marionberry taffy which came out accidentally. Guess we'll have that for dessert. But my brother mixed up this stuff here. You see it's got dehydrated carrots and onions and mushrooms, celery. I believe that's what all that is. And then this sort of tan stuff that looks like taco seasoning or something. That's kind of a meat substitute, some kind of protein stuff. Now this is pretty hearty, so I think I'm only going to use half this package. And this is to be added to the ramen noodles. And then he says add a Better Than Bouillon package plus BTB. That's Better Than Bouillon, which he packaged up individually for me. And plus hot chili sesame oil, which is in this little thing right here. So we're going to put this stuff in first and let it come to a boil again, or, you know, I don't know, sort of steam in there for a little while. And then we'll add the ramen noodles. And to open the packages, I bought this Gerber knife, and I haven't used it yet. I really haven't ever needed a knife for anything on the trail before. But who knows, I might sometime. But the thing about this knife is opening it is pretty straightforward, you know, just pull it out like that. And then it sort of locks in place. But then the question of how to close it, that's not so obvious. And it doesn't come with instructions. So I needed to go to a YouTube video where you can learn to do anything. And I found out that if you look right here, you see that this part of the handle is straight on the top side. But on the bottom side, this one kind of curves inward. And it lines up with the base of the blade right there. So what you have to do is pull that out, pull it down like so that it doesn't line up with the blade anymore, and then you can turn the blade to close it. All right, that water is boiling, so now I'm going to add some of this stuff. I want to get it mixed up good. I've cold soaked this stuff before and found it to be very hearty, so I think a half a bag is good with one package of ramen noodles. Smells great. Carabiner. To the outside of my bag is my spork. All right, well, I'll add the Better Than Bouillon. Uh-oh, I'm starting to burn it. Oh no. And then the hot chili sesame oil. I don't know how much I should put in there. I put about 7 drops. What do you think? Well, spent over an hour at that last stop. Now I'm on the Fetters Trail. Oh my God. This thing is a killer. It is super steep. Red blazes. When it started out, it was interesting because for the first 5 minutes or so, there was no path. It was just, thank goodness for the blazes, because it was like, okay, here's a red blazed tree. Now, where's the next one? Ah, there it is. So just work your way across the forest floor and get to it however you can. And then, okay, now where's the next one? Ah, there. So there was no discernible path along the ground. Now there is something of a path, but it's mostly rocks and, man, it is steep. I don't know how much farther it goes. Oh, actually I do. To the top. So we continue. Oh my God. 58 minutes coming up that thing. 58 minutes of super, super steep climbing. Relentless. What is the point of that trail? Don't do the Fetters Trail. Coming up anyway. Now it's looking like, a reasonable gradual ascent, but oh my God, that was awful. If I had known that trail was like that, I would have gone up Beans Cove Road to where it crosses the Mid-State Trail. Fetters, like unfettered ridiculousness. Now that we're on this path, I don't see the red blazes anymore. Maybe the theory is one doesn't really need them now because it's quite clear where the trail is. Since I left the parking lot, I wouldn't be surprised if I've only gone 3/10 of a mile. Because I made such slow progress on that trail. Okay, this is looking promising. This is the MST right here. I think I would see orange blazes if it was. Let's see. Nope, just... Oh, wait. Tussey Mountain Road. Okay. Oh, wait. There's an orange blaze right there. So we're turning north because the car is in that direction. And, just in case. Now, if I had seen a sign, back there that said southbound, there's some shelter, then I'd have gone that way, but we'll go this way. I'm worried about the possibility of having to bail because of the water situation. I don't believe there are going to be any streams up here, and so I have, I guess, about half a liter of water and a third or a fourth of a pint. So I can't be using the water to make coffee or the breakfast that I brought, which was going to be something to cook. Probably just need to conserve it for drinking. In my car, I have a bottle of water, and then I have a Gatorade or Powerade or something. So, I sweated buckets coming up the Fetters Trail there. It was absurd. Sweating so much sometimes that it was running down over my eyes. I couldn't see. Of course, I can't guarantee that some of all that moisture wasn't tears. That was the worst. That was the worst. I would take Heartbreak Ridge on the Foothills Trail any day over that, go in either direction, before I would do that stupid trail again. I guess what I'm getting at is I didn't care for that one. So here we are on the MST, and it's nice and level and wide. I like that. And up a little ways, it should cross Beans Cove Road, and that'd be a good place for signs, when you have a road crossing like that. Um, as by signs, I mean, indicating mileage to something, like how many miles to the next shelter, that kind of thing. So we'll see. Beans Cove Road. Crossing the road here, we have Martin Hill Road, and it's probably up that way. Let's see what we got going over here. There's State Forest maps, a ramp. We got a picnic table over here. And then, let's see, Carl Cessna Trail. Oh, and the Mid-State Trail goes up that way. Okay, so it doesn't go that way. It goes up this way. All right. Need to start thinking about where I'm going to camp. And if we're going up into that forest there, maybe someplace up there is suitable. Because I wouldn't say that camping along Tussey Mountain Road there would have worked very well. Okay, I studied the maps again, and I would estimate that the car is 5 or 6 miles from here. And we're going to continue moving in the direction of the car, but I'm not taking the Mid-State Trail, also known as the Carl Cessna Trail there. Instead, I'm going to take Martin Hill Road over here, because the Mid-State Trail goes up to the top of a peak. It's going to climb about, I think there's some up and down, but it'll net gain is like 800 feet up to the top of a peak. Martin Hill Road does not go to the top of that peak. It runs parallel, and it goes up maybe about 500 feet. Also, it's just a shorter route. The Mid-State Trail comes back and hits Martin Hill Road again, crosses it, I think. There is a tributary to Sweet Root Run that this should eventually cross. Okay, so that's a possibility for water. So the water situation is bad. If we don't find water, we're just going to have to keep going till we get back to the car, because I can't do with what little we've got. But there's still a possibility that we will encounter a creek, that tributary to Sweet Root Run, maybe. If it's flowing well, if there's water in it, and there's someplace near it that we can camp, well, then we're in business. But otherwise, we're going to have to keep pressing on, which is rough. But got to do what you got to do. Dry as a bone. But I'm not surprised. I wouldn't expect a channel like this to be flowing. So, still going up Martin Hill Road. Still climbing. It's hard to capture steepness on camera. This is not very steep, but that is uphill. Just keeps going up. So, I'm sweating again, but I just keep thinking about, if we have to go back to the car, I'm thinking about, how within about a half hour I'll be feeling better. So, just visualizing that. This is an ordeal, folks. This one hasn't really been a fun one. I mean, there was that coffee break this morning. That was hours ago. That was kind of nice, but there haven't been that many pleasant moments, really. So, yeah, there are lessons to be learned. We won't talk about them right now because my mouth is dry. I guess I just need to keep pressing on. Okay, Here's Tower Road. That's good. Because maybe we've finally crested this beast of a hill that we've been walking up. But Tower Road goes up further. I think it goes up another 300 feet or so. And would meet the Mid-State Trail up there. So then the Mid-State Trail would be about 2,700 feet at that point. Its highest point around here, and then start to come down and meet us along Martin Hill Road farther on. Now along this stretch, before we get to the Mid-State Trail, should be a vista on our right. Yeah. We're gonna go downhill a little bit here. Whew. I could use it. This looks like it's probably gonna be the vista right up here. Maybe we'll get to see something, unlike this morning. So, stop to appreciate how weird this is. By the time we're done, we probably will have hiked 16 or 17 miles. And the only time that we were able to get water, we were outside of the state forest boundary. And that road bridge crossing over Bear Gap Run, which we never would have come to if we had hiked our original itinerary, you know? Okay, so this isn't too bad. Yeah, we see a little something. I believe down in that valley runs State Road 326 through a few small towns, running north and south. And so we got ridges on the opposite side. Okay. Well, let's keep on keeping on. I'm not optimistic about finding a little stream. There is still that possibility somewhere along here. But chances are good we will keep on going straight ahead. And in fact, basically we hit Blankley Road, which we parked off of. But when Martin Hill runs into Blankley, it just goes straight. You go straight or left to be on Blankley. So that means we'll just keep walking straight until we see the silver streak. And in that case, we'll be sleeping in the silver streak tonight. I'm ready for bed now. What time is it, by the way? 7:21. Okay, back to the Mid-State Trail here. We would have come down out of those ferns if we took that route. And then, what do? Just join the road, probably? I'm thinking it just merges with Martin Hill Road, but then it should split off from it and go to the right somewhere. So now it's about 8:15, I think. And I believe I recognize this junction up here. And we should be at the end of Martin Hill Road and back to Blankley. So I remember coming to this morning. I never did see where the Mid-State Trail split off from here, though, because it should be over there now, running parallel to us. Okay, well, looks like maybe the silver streak will come into view before I even need the headlamp. And we didn't see the one creek that the map indicated might have been a source of water. So we got nothing. But fortunately, in the cooler, in the silver streak, I have water, Gatorade, and a half of bottle of Coca-Cola, I believe. I might swig that first, just to give myself a little, jolt. Shouldn't be long now. 8:41. Of course, the last leg had to be a long, steady climb. Of course it did. But I think the clearing on the left is where we will find the silver streak. Hasn't come into view yet, because I know where I parked it. It should be kind of tucked out of our sight. Finally. This sucked. This was not a pleasant outing at all. But I don't want to dwell on that. So I'll say this. Look, the silver streak. Yes! It's probably going to take a half hour before I feel a little bit, like I'm recovering. But we'll start working on it. Well, after drinking that half a Coke, all I want to do now is just lie back. And I may just fall asleep. Chicken, egg, and cheese biscuit. Well, I can't wait to get home. May not leave my house for a week. So, shortly after talking to you last night, I was asleep within 5 minutes, within 2 minutes, right here in the driver's seat. Slept like a rock. I can tell you that for my next outing, I will choose something that is pleasant, low impact, reliable, and most of all, wet. A big lesson from yesterday is research the water along your route a little better. But hey, we survived. Another lesson to be learned here is that, so I've been stoveless up until now, but if I'm going to be cooking, then I'm going to need to carry more water. I've always been able to get by with a liter and a pint, but I'm only drinking it. So if I'm going to be using it for cooking, then I need to carry more water, I guess, or be more mindful of the water situation. So I think we'll end it here, and yeah, we'll see you next time for something easier.